Hello and welcome to Box Office Chat, the weekly show from Movie Burner Entertainment where we discuss the top 10 films within the United Kingdom's box office. This is for the weekend November 9th to 11th 2018, and joining me as ever is Stephen to discuss all the various films in the box office. What have we got at number one this week? It's a rejuvenated box office, Stephen.
Yeah, got a new number one, John. It's The Grinch, or Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, in its first week. It's grossed 5 million over the weekend, overall 5.3. I take it this must have come out possibly Thursday or Friday last week, John, here in the UK.
Maybe.
I've not seen this film yet, as it is in its first week, obviously, but I did enjoy. I know a lot of people are sort of, it's a bit of a mixed bag, the one with Jim Carrey from a few years back.
Yes.
This one's directed by Yarrow Chesney and Scott Mosier, and it stars a whole host of stars: Benedict Cumberbatch, Cameron Seeley, Rashida Jones, just to name a few. It's certainly one that I want to take my daughter along to see. The Grinch has always been a character. It's a generation thing, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Especially with Dr. Seuss's characters and his stories. She's not familiar with the character or these storylines, so it's something that I do want to introduce her to, because I think all kids have to see and have to read at least some Dr. Seuss stuff.
Yes, well, it started very strongly, Stephen, in the United Kingdom. £5 million after, 1 week. It's opening weekend, in actual fact, I'm talking crap. It's not after a week. It's probably grossed a lot more by now, I would have thought, as we are a week behind as ever. Shown in just 554 theatres as well, which is quite a small figure for a relatively large release. This is a film that's been releasing to quite a bit of anticipation. I've seen people speaking about it in various different quarters throughout the entertainment industry and whatnot, different commentary channels and stuff like that, speaking about just the excitement and how they expect it to do well at the box office, both here in Europe and over in the United States. Also, as you said, directed by Yarrow Cheney and Scott Mosier. I believe Cheney was the guy that co-directed The Secret Life of Pets, another animated film from a couple of years ago, which I watched and thoroughly enjoyed. Had a great blend of superb animation, funny humour, and the story was okay, but it had a couple of underlying themes in there as well, which was good. The primary thing I look at here is just the cast. When I see an animated film, I always look to the cast and see who they have managed to assemble. And you look at Benedict Cumberbatch, Rashida Jones, Pharrell Williams, Kenan Thompson. I remember him from Kenan and Kel, Nickelodeon show from back in the day. All very good, very talented people that bring something different to the film. Kenan Thompson's a very funny guy. He's done a lot of Saturday Night Live skits and stuff like that. Pharrell Williams, obviously an incredibly talented chap. He's got his finger in many pies, fashion, music, everything. So it's an extremely talented cast. I can't wait to watch it. I intended to go and watch it this week, but sadly I was going to do a double matinee effort, Stephen, and Saturday night. Go and watch this and Overlord, but the times just didn't match up, so I ditched this in favour of Overlord. I don't think that was a bad decision, which we will get into later on in the show. But I am going to go and watch this because I loved the original Grinch with Jim Carrey. It was something I was slightly younger when it came out. What year did you say?
2000 it was, John.
2000, so I'd have been just 11 years old. I do remember it quite fondly, and I love Jim Carrey. He's just one of my all-time
favourites.
favourites.
Probably at the right age though, John, you know, to really get into it. But Benedict Cumberbatch is voicing the Grinch this time.
What a great voice the man's got.
He needs to do more animation because he has got such a a distinctive voice.
Just don't say penguins.
Yeah, I was going to say that was his. That's his only. It was the penguins of Madagascar. Yep, we all know that you can't pronounce that word. So it was a poor choice of film to really, pick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can say The Grinch, to be fair.
I can't.
This comes from Illumination Entertainment. They did the Lorax. I think that's how you pronounce it, Lorax or Lorax. I can't remember, from 2012. It's a bit of a mixed bag as well, but I actually like it. I think a lot of Dr. Seuss stuff is like that. You know, a lot of people can take to it, some people can't. I thoroughly enjoyed that film. I thought it was pretty good. And as you said, the one from 2000 as well, how the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey one, I liked that, but that's just because I'm a Jim Carrey fan. I thought this obviously is an animated film. That one wasn't. That was more costume, and Jim Carrey's the right kind of guy that can pull that off. I don't think many actors out there could have put that suit on and really carried it. Well,
funnily enough, I think I do recall mentioning it was absolute hell wearing that suit. You had to go through 8 hours of like makeup to put the suit on, and it was just horrendous. He was warm and it was really uncomfortable wearing it. So hats off to Jim for putting up with that. Thankfully Benedict doesn't have to go through the same rigmarole because it is an animated film. But look at Illumination Entertainment, Stephen, as well. Look at the films I've done previously.
Yeah.
Minions, Despicable Me, Secret Life of Pets, they have been involved in that as well. So they've obviously got a good connection with the director.
Yeah.
Amazing animation style. It's very distinctive. It's up there with the likes of Pixar. You can tell it right away.
Yeah.
So
I
know
think-
that they've got a history of releasing quality films.
And I think if it does well over the next month or so, then it could be a resurgence of the Dr. Zeus series, because as we know that Mike Myers did the live action The Cat in the Hat as well, another great character. I'd like to see that animated in this style as well. It's certainly one that I'm going to take my daughter along to see. Thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yes. But I'm going to move on, Stephen, anyway, because I've not got much more to add to that. I'll surely speak with more authority next week once I've seen the film. But we'll move on to number 2, which is Bohemian Rhapsody, a film I have seen. I don't think you've quite got round to seeing it yet. It's grossed another 4.5, just under £4.6 million at the weekend, down 20.9% from last weekend, still shown in the biggest number of theatres in the box office, the top 10 this week, 825. Now sitting at a total gross after 3 weeks of £29.1 million. Extremely impressive performance.
Yeah.
It's now above A Star Is Born in half the time. And it's not a surprise over here, because everyone over here likes Queen to some degree. Some people really like them, some people not as big a fans, but they can get on board with the hits.
Yeah,
and it's a film surrounding Freddie Mercury. He's an absolute icon, you know.
Exactly, that's I was just going to say that, John. The film's based on true life events as well. It's a familiar lineup of Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor and Brian Deacon of Queen, and more people of my age and older will know how the story of Queen came about, where they came from, and where they ended up, sadly. So it's more relatable in those terms. It's not to say that A Star Is Born is not as good a film. Of course it is. It's just this was one that was in the making for a good decade, John. A lot of people were very interested in seeing this film coming out eventually. Eventually did come out. Rami Malek takes the centre stage of Freddie Mercury. I don't think I would have saw anyone else doing this other than Sacha Baron Cohen for many years, because he was linked to the project for so long. He wanted to take it in a different direction than the filmmakers, Bryan Singer, etc. But it wasn't to be, and I couldn't really see anyone else playing him. Rami Malek steps up, and he really does step up from what I've seen, John. Unfortunately, I was planning to go and see it this week. Other things came up, so unfortunately I've not seen it yet, but it's going to be in the theatres for a good while yet anyway. I know that, because you can just see it's performing so well. It's really gaining momentum as well, and I think it's going to be in that top 10 I think it's going to be there for maybe 5 or 6 weeks yet.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me. It depends on really new releases coming out. Obviously you've got Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald still to come out, Mary Poppins and a few other ones, Wreck-It Ralph, and just off the top of my head I think Creed 2's coming out soon as well, so it might hang about the bottom end of the top 10 of the box office, who knows. Worldwide performance, $384.3 million off of a $52 million budget. Very impressive. I enjoyed the film. It rattled through the history of the band and how they got together, Freddie Mercury's personal sides and stuff like that. It never went too deep, which I was happy with. Some people aren't happy with it. I didn't want to see how they really contracted AIDS and just came through that battle. It's a story everyone knows. This is more about introducing a new era of fans to the band and the man that was Freddie Mercury, and it seems to be working, because if you go onto YouTube, search up some of the live performances and songs, it's a bit of a renaissance in Queen. You go in and there's all these videos reacting to seeing Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time. A lot of these people are chancellors though, I do feel, because it's like 20-year-old, mid-20s people saying they've not seen or heard Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of crap you have. They're doing it for the views you get. But look, I enjoyed the film. It was decent. Utilised the music incredibly. Incredible set design, how they recreated the live shows. Amazing the live aid bit at the end. And Rami Malek was just outstanding as Freddie Mercury. As you did say, Sacha Baron Cohen would have brought a different performance. Probably had done an incredible job. But the rest of the band just didn't want that darker, more gritty telling of his personal life of debauchery, as they called it. But hey, that's life.
The thing is, John, if you want to go and see that, as you said, there's plenty of documentaries and stuff like that on Freddie Mercury and Queen on YouTube, and you know I've seen them all. I lived in a I've lived in a time when this all happened anyway, so I know the story, so I don't really have to be retold the story in some sort of glossy fashion. I would rather the film concentrated on the music and more of a celebration of Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Which is precisely what it does.
Yeah, well, that's it. You can't ask it for any more than that. So we're going to move on, John, to number 3 this week. It's a new entry in its first week, grossing 2.4 million over the weekend. It's a film called Widows. I quite fancy this movie, I've got to be honest with you. This is directed by Steve McQueen, and it stars, I could really go on with the list of stars that are in this movie. Viola Davis, Liam Neeson's in there, John Bernthal as well. The likes of Robert Duvall's in there as well, legendary actor. Colin Farrell as well. And the film is about set in contemporary Chicago amid a time of turmoil. 4 women with nothing in common except a debt left behind by their dead husbands' criminal activities take fate into their own hands and conspire to forge a future on their own terms. Sounds okay to me.
Yeah, I can't lie, Stephen. I've never heard of this film in my life before. This is the first I've heard of it. Clearly not a guy that's very well versed in entertainment news, despite talking about it on a weekly basis. But look, it slipped right under my radar. But hey ho, what can I say, man? Steve McQueen, incredible director. Also an Academy Award winning director for 12 Years a Slave. Been involved in a whole host of incredible films, the likes of Hunger and so on and so forth. He's an incredible guy, an incredible filmmaker. And also Gillian Flynn has wrote it as well. She wrote Gone Girl, which was another really enjoyable film. The story sounds very intriguing. 4 women, as you did say, with nothing in common except a debt. Really taking fate into their own hands and conspiring to forge a future in their own terms. And I presume these women are going to involve Viola Davis and probably Michelle Rodriguez as well, and a couple others, because there's 4. But those 2 in particular, very talented actors or actresses, whatever the hell you want to call them. Viola Davis in particular, utterly outstanding. Anything that's got John Bernthal in there, I'm in. And just to see Liam Neeson popping up, perhaps a more serious, drama-heavy film. I think he says he was done with action films last year. He was going to step into a different genre for a change. We've seen this guy in the likes of Schindler's List. We know he can do it.
Yes.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what he's brought to the table with this performance. Manuel Garcia Rolfo as well, an incredible actor. And you look right down, Stephen, Colin Farrell and Robert Duvall, way down the billing. So it seems like a right combination of really good things going on with this. The director, the writers, they're fairly inexperienced, only wrote 2 films and a couple of TV shows, but she's got a pretty good hit ratio, I think, in terms of success.
Yeah.
The director, the guy's just incredible. What can you say about that guy? So it's a film I'm definitely interested in going to see.
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer is doing the music as well, and Sean Bobbitt is also involved in the cinematography, a man that's worked with Steve McQueen before on the likes of Hunger, as I said, and 12 Years a Slave. So all the right pieces are there, the components are all there for a very good film. And I will definitely go and watch this.
Yeah, certainly will as well, John. I like the synopsis of that movie. It's something right down my street. But coming in at number 4 this week is A Star Is Born. In its 6th week, it's grossed another 1.2 million over the weekend, grossing overall 25.5 million. Very impressive. We've talked the hind legs off this film. But something that did come up this week, John, in regards to Oscar nominations on this film, Lady Gaga said that herself and Bradley Cooper have talked about this. If the film is nominated in any fashion, they are willing to perform live. I don't know what track it will be, whether it will be the shallow one, I'm not sure.
You think it would be?
I think so. I think that's the one that Bradley Cooper's most comfortable with. I think he opens the song up. I'd be very interested to see that performance actually live. Just to see how good he is. They
always do live performances, don't they, at these things?
So it could open up. It might be a way that I don't know if Lady Gaga's perhaps trying to sway people into this, but our studios that vote into it. It's the studios that
they put the nominations forward.
So it could be that perhaps
she's going to get nominated.
She's going to get nominated anyway. I think, John. I think that's fair to say. Certainly, I think the soundtrack as well has got a good chance. It's a very good put together soundtrack. I can't think of many that's going to be up there to really.
If not the soundtrack, then definitely the song. I think they do a best song or something every year, so that's definitely going to be there. I think Coco won last year, maybe.
So I think it's I think it's fair to say that we might be getting this performance out of both of them. They certainly have set themselves up, not for a fall, but they've certainly set themselves up for a performance I think that everyone would like to see perform live, whether it be at the Oscars or not, who knows. But I've not got much more to say, John. I thoroughly enjoyed the film, thoroughly enjoyed the songs in the film as well. A lot of emotions in that movie as well. It's a well-written directorial debut from Bradley Cooper as well, a man of very many talents. And Lady Gaga, we've seen her acting chops now, and I think we're going to see a lot more of her in films. She might actually go down the same track as Madonna did at one point in her career, John, with Desperately Seeking Susan. This was a George Harrison. I think it was Handmade Films that produced this film.
Okay, yeah.
And she had a series of films after that, Who's That Girl, etc. There was a couple in the early 90s, Body of Evidence, and some other ones. Dick Tracy she was in as well. Yeah. But I think, just getting sidetracked here, but going back to Lady Gaga's career, I think she's accomplished everything she can in the musical world, and I think she'll fancy her chances in the acting world as now, because I think her performance in this movie was very unexpected from me as a moviegoer anyway. I didn't really think that she would really impress me that much, but hats off to her. I thought she did a fantastic job.
Yeah, she did do a fantastic job, Stephen. I thought she was absolutely outstanding. As someone who I've not viewed as being an incredibly talented actress by any means, I don't know if she's ever did a film prior to this. I've not really done my research on Lady Gaga, but I thought she was outstanding. Alongside Bradley Cooper, the two of them had great chemistry. They really worked well together. I would like to see them perform live. That'd be pretty cool to see that at the Oscars. It's something to do every year, I think. You get a live performance of one of the songs that's nominated in the list of nominations, so that's maybe what they're talking about. I think last year it was Coco. Can't remember the name of it. It was the one the grandfather wrote or was stole. I can't remember, but it was that primary song from Coco that was performed live at the ceremony, the Oscar ceremony. So I'd love to see that. That'd be cool. Film itself, not surprised it's still in there doing very well. It's grossed 25.4 million after 6 weeks. It's only dropped 31% this weekend. 6 weeks in, a 31% drops. Outstanding. But we've seen it time and again in the United Kingdom. It's been proven that a musical film will go over well with audiences here, and certainly the music goes over well. I'm still hearing people talking about Greatest Showman. There's something this week. A whole host of artists recovered a lot of the songs from The Greatest Showman, and that was another film which was musical heavy and done very well over here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this still in the top 10 for another 6 weeks. I really wouldn't.
No, I think, and just going back to, I think this is a sort of standout performance, John. She did it. She has appeared in a lot of things as Lady Gaga. Guest appearances and stuff like that, and she did have sort of minor roles in one of the Sin City films and Machete Kills, but there's nothing really there that stands out. It's mostly performances, as her title of Lady Gaga, but I think this is certainly one that's going to really open up avenues for her going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Incidentally, she was in The Simpsons, also providing her voice, so there you go. There's two primary actors in the film, the primary protagonists, if I can get my teeth out and say that. Very good at voice acting. Bradley Cooper, as we know, done Rocket and Guardians of the Galaxy. This guy, so multifaceted. Yeah. He can do comedies, he can do rom-coms, he can do these things, he can sing, and he can provide his voice for animation. So, hope he maybe sneaks in for a nomination. Doubt it though, really do. I think this is Timothée Chalamet's year with Beautiful Boy. Yeah. But who knows? Time will tell. I've not seen that film, so that's very presumptuous of me.
It doesn't come out here till January, John. It's out in the US, I think, at the moment.
What
I'm pretty sure. But we've got to wait another 6 weeks or so, which I was very angry about when I heard about that, because it's a film I really do want to see. Timothée Chalamet, as you said, John, he's one of the most upcoming actors over the last year or so.
He's got a film coming out.
Yeah, and Steve Carell as well. I've enjoyed his work for many a times, especially his these emotional dramas that he seems to involve himself in every few years. We all know him from Saturday Night Live, the likes of Anchorman and all the sort of goofy characters that he does play, but he does do drama very well.
About, toy soldiers. He came back from the war and they've made miniature models. That was an outstanding film as well. So yeah, he does. He dives into the more drama heavy films. It's like Jim Carrey again. Yeah. Makes a career out of comedy, but he can really act over and above the comedy stuff. He's got a deceiving big range when he wants it. But I'm going to move on to the next film. It's a Nutcracker in the Four Realms. This has grossed another £1.1 million this weekend, a drop of 35.8% after its second weekend. It's now sitting at a total gross of just £3.4 million. It's a Disney release. Yeah. We said it last week. I've not seen it. I've got no intention of going to see this wannabe line, The Witch in the Wardrobe. I don't know if it's based on an original novel or something. I presume it is, but by all accounts, it's a bit shit.
Yeah, John, you're absolutely right. And when you look at that cast as well, this film really should be doing better. You've got an A-list cast in there. But, you know, when you look at the response from the critics here, they're very average ratings. And I think you're right. I think, you know, when I saw this movie poster and when I read the synopsis of the movie and what it was about, that was the first story that, you know, came into my head, was The Lion and the Witch in the Wardrobe. I don't know, it's in 21 theatres here in Glasgow, so it has got a widespread release throughout the UK, but I don't think it's got the legs to last in this top 10. I don't think it's going to see December, to be honest with you, John. I know that's a bit of a big call, but as you said, we've got these upcoming films coming out very shortly. I don't think this has got the legs to survive the top 10 for much longer.
No, I wouldn't think so either, Stephen, just because it isn't critically successful.
No.
And by all accounts, it's not going over well with the audience as well. They're kind of a deserting it in its droves. 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. Worldwide gross, just $116.2 million off of a $120 million budget. It's a flop. Disney will fire out these films every now and again. I'm not kidding. They've grossed about $7 billion this year already. It's ridiculous. And they'll get Mary Poppins Returns coming out very shortly, so this means nothing to them. And I'm not going to go and watch it. Sorry, I'm just not. Incidentally, it is based on a novel by E.T.A. Hoffman, I believe it was, a guy from way back in the day, an author, done many novels, or short stories, which this one was. But I'm going to move on to number 6, a film I did see. It says I seen it on Saturday, and I did, and it was very enjoyable. Overlord, which incidentally has grossed £676,000 this weekend. That's quite disappointing. Just showing in 458 theatres, and its total gross now sitting at just £850,000. And that's probably down to early screening, Stephen, and the fact it was a Wednesday release. It released on the 7th of November. I really, really enjoyed this film. I thought it was very intriguing. It was almost like a B-movie mixed with Wolfenstein, the game. It was very video game-ish in the way. It was crazy. Full of gore. Very linear story. These guys drop down in behind enemy lines. I say drop. The plane gets shot down at the beginning of the film. Without giving it away, because I know you've not seen it yet, Stephen. But they drop down behind lines and they've got one mission to go and seize this tower in a church, bring it down so they can take down the communications tower that's on top of it and allow the forces to land on Normandy. But it turns out there's a whole host of crazy shit going on under the ground. We've got crazed Nazi doctors, or one crazed Nazi doctor, and a very angry and very rapish SS commander because he tries to rape the female character in the film, Chloe. A bit of a dick, to be honest with you, but played by a very good actor, Pilo Asbeck, a guy I know from Game of Thrones, and just the likes of Ghost in the Shell as well. He's a good actor. He's Danish, but he's playing an SS German commander or officer in this film. A couple of really good performances in there. Jovan Adepo as Boyce, the main protagonist, black African American guy, thrust out of a peaceful life in the United States right into the conflict and has to deal with a whole host of crazy shit, experimentation, zombies, a headless decapitated head speaking and stuff like that. This is the level we're going to here. But very, very violent, Stephen. Enjoyably violent, I have to say. There's moments where a guy's zipping along in a motorbike, a German soldier, he gets his mouth taped over, he gets sent into this compound. This is how they get in, and it turns out he's got a grenade in his mouth. When they pull the tape off, it sets the grenade off and his head explodes. It was like Call of Duty 3 back in the day, Stephen, the little side carriage motorbike. But all in all, strange film. Period captured perfectly the World War II setting. Lovely period setting. Lovely visuals, quite atmospheric, incredibly tense, really dramatic. There's espionage stuff in here. Whole host of violence, as I did say, and some creepy, creepy moments. There was a moment where I was actually cringing where one of the guys turned zombie and his neck's snapping and there's bones sticking out his shoulder. Utterly horrendous, but visceral violence and all sorts in there, man, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was well written, never wasted a second, really, really quick pace, quickest 45 minutes in a film I've ever seen, opening wise. It just flew by, thoroughly enjoyable, and I'm glad to see it's earning some money. It's a bit disappointing, just £800,000 after its first real stint at the box office the weekend. That's quite poor.
38 million budget, John, as well. Coming in from J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production company and Paramount Pictures, as you said. I remember when J.J. Abrams announced this film was coming out, there was a lot of speculation, if I recall, that this was part of the Cloverfield franchise, but I think J.J. Abrams knocked that in the head right away.
Because you remember that Cloverfield paradox?
That's right. Man. Yeah, that Netflix release. That's right. Yeah, It's a film. I've been hearing little rumblings over the last maybe 6 months about this movie, and it's certainly one that I'll do want to go and catch. I probably will go along this week because it's certainly down my street. That time period as well always intrigues me. And although I'm not familiar with the cast at all, I'm not familiar with any of the names that are in there, John, I've got to be honest with you. I know that you mentioned Pilo Aspic, but I wouldn't know him from the Game of Thrones, as you know. I don't watch the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he plays Euron Greyjoy. He's a bit of a dick in that as well. It's a recurring theme, but he's a very good actor, because I'm sure he's not a dick in real life.
Hopefully not, John.
No. Final thing I would add, Stephen, just going through the cast again, I did say there was a number of good performances. I really enjoyed Wyatt Russell. He was really good as Corporal Ford. Matilde Olivier, I don't know if that's how you say her name, is Chloe. She was very, very, very good. As someone who also loses her brother in the midst of a conflict, he gets whipped away. Her mother's got a bit of tragedy there. And John McGarrow as well as Tibbet. That's what I'd say. The story doesn't go too deep. It's quite quick paced. It's linear in its approach, but the characters, you really do get on board with them. You start bonding with them and liking them, because the banter back and forth's really cool. Amazing moment at the start where he has to jump out of the burning plane and he's going through flak, and it's an incredible visual moment when he's flying down, falling down into the water. It put me in mind of Mission Impossible Fallout. But look, I've really enjoyed the film, as I did say. Box office wise, $38 million budget, as you did say. It's currently sitting at a worldwide gross of $32.7 million, so hopefully it goes on to make a profit, because it really deserves it. Rotten Tomatoes 80% from the critics, 76% from the audience. Final thing I'd add, final thing, Julie Savory is actually directing a new Flash Gordon film, so can't wait to see what he does with that. There
wasn't a lot of promotion for this film, John, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be one that's going to be word of mouth. But we'll move on to number 7 this week. This is The Thugs of Hindostan, which is in its first week. It's grossed over $500,000 in its first week. And this movie has got one of the lowest ratings I've ever seen on IMDb at 3.6 out of 10. It's on for 2 hours and 44 minutes. And it's directed by Vijay Krishan Akaraya. I think that's how you pronounce the name anyway. And it stars Katrina Kaif, Amir Khan, Fatima Sana Saik, and a whole host of Indian stars that, pardon my ignorance, but we're not really familiar with here in Glasgow. And this movie is it's a look at the lives of imperial deceivers, thugs who stole from travellers in India during the 1830s, and it's based on a novel, Confessions of a Thug, by Philip Meadows Taylor.
Yes. What can I say, Stephen? It's a release I had no clue about. It's also an Indian release. We see these from time to time, they pop up. We have got a large Indian population in the United Kingdom who will occasionally thrust these films into the box office and top 10. So hats off to it for getting in there and earning a bit of money. It's just £200,000, less than £200,000 shy of Overlord, which is a much bigger budget, I'd presume. And Rotten Tomatoes, much the same as IMDb, 18% from all critics, and audience score of 47%. You've just showed me a review from IMDb which states in its header, or headline, worst movie ever. I'm just thinking of Simpsons right away there, worst movie ever, but I've not got much more to add to it, Stephen. It's going to be a short and sweet little discussion about that one. I'm not going to go and watch it, and I'm going to move on to another film which I'm not going to go and watch. I've got any intentions I've ever seen in my life. It's Johnny English Strikes Again at number 8. It's grossed £470,000 at the weekend, dropping 54.1%, and Fierce, it's down 59, it's just shown in just 445 now, and its total worldwide, and its total gross is now sitting at 17.1 million after 6 weeks. It's done very, very well. It's performed well in the United Kingdom, and it's performed extremely well everywhere, really. $129.3 million worldwide gross, off of a $25 million budget. That's very impressive indeed. $4 million in the United States as well. I never knew Rowan Atkinson had a big following in the States.
I think he does, John. I think through the years, just playing likes of Blackadder, etc., really has captured the American audience. I think Bean, the original Mr. Bean film, did reasonably well at the box office as well. It certainly made Ron Atkinson a household name, I think, over in the US as a comedic actor. Certainly in Johnny English, the first movie that came out 14 years ago, did okay.
Did you know, Stephen, that there was a Johnny English Reborn in 2011? Because I actually didn't. I discovered that this week.
I can't remember that, I've got to be honest with you, John, but that's really just Rosamund Pike was in that movie.
Yeah.
That just shows, I'm not going to say my ignorance, but my interest in this franchise. I'm not interested in. It's been done before with the likes of Austin Powers and that.
Yeah.
But it shows you that this film has performed better than any of the two of us could have predicted. But as you can see, it is on the descendancy now in the box office. As you can see, it's dropped a few places there. I don't think it's going to really revive itself. I think it's did its course, but there you are. I do remember Johnny English. I don't remember that middle part, unfortunately. I don't know what I was doing back in 2011. Certainly wasn't going to see that. Clearly,
not a lot of people were going to see it, a lot less than what went to see the first film, because you look at the franchise history. Johnny English, number one, $28 million in the States. Second one, Johnny English Reborn, $8 million. And now Johnny English Strikes Again, just $4 million. And the amount of theatres it's shown in, it's like kind of a dropping by similar amounts as well. 2,200, 1,500.
Yeah.
Just 500 for this one. Ever diminishing returns for this franchise.
We'll move on to number 9 this week, John. It is Smallfoot, in its 5th week, grossing another 400,000 over the weekend, 10.6 million overall. Again, talk to hind legs off this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I've only seen this movie once. I think kids might get a bit of rewatchability out of it. I got the simple message about acceptance from this movie. Good cast: Channing Tatum, James Corden, Zendaya. The list goes on. This was from Warner Brothers, as we said, all those weeks ago when it first came out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My daughter liked it as well. Is it one that I would probably get on digital download or Blu-ray? Possibly not.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Listen, I'm glad it's done well. $10.6 million. That's 10.6, isn't it? $10.6 million. £10.6 million at the box office in the United Kingdom for a film of this stature's pretty impressive. You look at its worldwide performance, $200 million. It's got to have made a profit. Again, I don't know the production budget, I've not got that information, but it's performed very well, as you did say. I've seen it once as well, Stephen. Not a great deal of rewatchability there. Once you see the story, it's pretty. I mean, it's a one and done for me. But I enjoyed it. Slick animation, great humour, underlying messages there, whilst providing some superfluous fun for the children who go to see the film. It is what it is. It's done well. It's coming to its end in the top 10 of the box office, but that's life. All things must pass, as George Harrison did say, and this one's going to be passing pretty shortly. I'm pretty sure about that. And I'm going to be passing on to the final film in this week's episode of Box Office Chat, and it's They Shall Not Grow Old, another Warner Brothers release, which grossed £271,000 at the weekend. It's in its 5th weekend. It says it's grossed £271,000 after 5 weeks. I don't quite understand that. Has it been out 5 weeks? Has it just grossed £271,000? I don't know, the numbers aren't adding up, but I'm glad to see it's in there.
Well, I think we all know the reason for this, John. It's the 100-year, obviously, the 100-year anniversary of the Great War, and I think that's where the resurgence of this movie has come out, because as you recall, we spoke about this movie maybe about 5 weeks ago or so, when the trailer dropped. Very impressed with the trailer. I think one of the things I picked up, I don't think a lot of people mentioned it, but people are obviously mentioning the restoration work and the visuals. Certainly that was very impressive. I've never seen anything restored from when you see that transition of the old black and white grainy footage, and you can see the actual transition happen in front of your eyes of the colour coming in, and the screen really cleared up of all the little specks and stuff like that, and the jumps, which we talked about before. It's one of those things that we always think of, the likes of Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, that because of the time and the period, the quality of the film made them look a little cartoony because of the sheer quality, lack of technology at that stage in film. And that was round about this time, but just the way the movement of the film, that it just moves so. It's going to sound silly, this, but it moves so lifelike, like you're actually seeing this happen in front of your eyes. One of the things that I picked up from the trailer was the sound. The sound is absolutely immense, and it does remind us of a time. I've read some of the reviews on this movie. That this should be shown in every school throughout the country, and I think it should. I think it's a time that should not be forgotten, and I think Peter Jackson did a fantastic job in bringing all this never seen footage. I'm pretty sure it's not been seen before, and he's collated it all, made it into an hour and 39-minute film. It's getting massive reviews, very positive reviews all over the place. 8.8 on IMDb out of 10. I don't think I've ever seen a documentary or a historic documentary with that such high rating.
Yeah. And actually, one of the comments Peter Jackson said about this film was that it was trapped in the people within it, also the guys that were involved in the war and the conflict, they were trapped in a Charlie Chaplin world. Yeah. Because of that jerky nature of the footage, as you did say, Stephen. Just the fact it's black and white, it dehumanises the figures you're seeing on the screen. So when you provide colour, sharpen up the images and take all the blemishes away, and also make the animation more fluid and human-like, then it really does make quite a difference. I've not seen the film as of yet, but I will hope to get around to seeing it. Probably not in the cinema, sadly, but it will come on. I think it's due to hit the BBC at some point. Yeah. Pretty sure I read that. I'm quite surprised it's not done already. Maybe I've missed it. I hope not.
Well, I thought it would have been out last Sunday, John, exactly. For the on the 11th, but sadly not. It was in 2 cinemas here in Glasgow 5 or 6 weeks ago, but it didn't really have a long run in these cinemas, so it was unfortunately I couldn't get along to see it.
Yeah, I was quite surprised when I seen it was in the box office, Stephen. I thought it was a one and done shot. It was going to be maybe a couple of days or maybe one night and then it was away, because I certainly didn't hear anything about a extended theatrical release. But you look at some of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and the prevailing theme seems to be that, despite obviously Peter Jackson being a bit of a blockbuster merchant, that the prevailing theme is that it doesn't delve too much into sentimentality, it doesn't over sanitise the guys involved. It's a very true human, obviously, telling of a story, true accounts of the survivors. And I do recall hearing one, it may have been Peter Jackson himself, one comment about how these guys would come home and they weren't treated as heroes, they were treated as they were actually treated with contempt and refused jobs and stuff like that by some of the civilians who'd obviously stayed and not been involved in the conflict. So that's very intriguing. You see these guys becoming more and more legendary as the decades pass. But all in all, I can't wait to see the film. I'm sure it'll be incredible. It's an amazing restoration job he's put together. Incredible show of just what technology can do these days. You see it in the likes of Marvel, the way they de-age people, but this shows you what you can do when you put your mind to it and put it to history, the incredible job that can be done. Yeah,
John, I've just read an article here actually, just in regards to it, because I did find it strange that it wasn't being shown here in the UK on Armistice Day. It's getting a run in the cinemas nationwide apparently, in 2D and 3D. I don't know if I'd want to see this in 3D. I think I'd be pushing it a little bit, but according to this article, it will be appearing in cinemas, selected cinemas that is, throughout the UK on Monday the December 11th and Thursday December 27th, and apparently it did air on the BBC in the UK on the 11th. I certainly missed that, because it's certainly something I would have picked up on. I don't know if perhaps it was the regionalised, perhaps BBC Scotland didn't get it, which would be an absolute travesty, because I think Scotland had a very large part to play in both world wars, certainly with the ships and stuff like that. But it's one of those films. You're talking over 600 hours of archival footage that Peter Jackson had to sift through. He's picked the best parts of that could obviously be restored. There was obviously a lot that couldn't be. It was a lost cause, perhaps loss of sound, etc. But I think this is a fantastic piece of work from Peter Jackson and his team in restoring this. We've seen a lot of the World War II in colour, Hitler in colour, etc., and it's very impressive results, but this is another level.
Well, in fact, Stephen, it was shown in BBC Two, and it's actually on the BBC iPlayer just now, so I will definitely be giving that a bash later on. I can't wait to see that. And that's just going to bring us to the end of this week's show, because I've not got much more to add. But we do discuss the top 10 films within the United Kingdom's box office. We'd just like to thank you for listening to us once again, and we will be back tomorrow with Movie Burner News.
Remember guys, if you enjoyed that episode, then do hit that like button, comment below, and maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. If you want to follow us on social media for all the latest updates from Movie Burner Entertainment, then we can be found on Twitter and Facebook at Movie Burners. You can also listen to us on Google Play and iTunes at the Movie Burner Podcast. And last but not least, if you want to access all the latest written reviews and the occasional article, then that can be found on our website at movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.